I got it, but thank you. Appreciate the offer, Sarah. Good afternoon, class of 2013, family and friends. Let's give them a round of applause again. They deserve it. I am very nervous. I entertain students for a living. And that's really what we do as teachers. We stand up in front of a group of people and entertain them in some fashion, hoping that they learn from our entertainment. But I've never been this nervous speaking in front of a group of people. For the second time in 3 years, I'm honored to speak to you this afternoon at this baccalaureate ceremony. This is the fourth year I've had the opportunity to speak to the graduating class, and honestly, I'm running out of things to say. There's only so much motivation you can give without starting to sound like one of those flowery Facebook posts your aunt clogs your newsfeed with. We're starting to see them. But I'm bound and determined not to sound like a Hallmark card. This isn't coming from YouTube. I've spent my working life composing original writing and later encouraging students to do the same. So I'm not going to phone it in now. A few weeks ago, I gave many of you an assignment to write 750 words about what you've learned in my classes over the last 2 years. Now, this is a perfect senior assignment for an English teacher because the main requirement is the student has to write 750 words. And I can tell at a glance if they've done that, and I can tell if they just copied and pasted from Wikipedia. But if it looks good, they get full credit. I don't have to read them now. I'm saving them for later, after grades have been submitted and I can't punish them for being brutally honest. I did read a few of them this weekend, and I've noticed that not everybody has turned it in. So it would be a good idea, if you haven't, to get it done. You know who you are. I thought it would be a good idea to share with you what I've learned in 10 years teaching at Palo Verde High School. Don't think that teaching is a one-way process. I learn as much from you as you do from me. And I take that knowledge and use it. If I've improved as a teacher, it's because I've learned something from you and your predecessors. Item number 1. A little respect goes a long way. One way I've showed respect over the years is the way I greet my students. I stand at my door and I shake their hands as they enter the classroom. Nothing complicated, perfectly simple. For some of you, that may be the only positive adult contact you have all day. I've treated you like a human being, and I've let you know you're welcome in my classroom. That has been my strongest classroom management tool since I learned it 5 years ago. I put up with a lot, probably more than I should, but ultimately I can teach to you because you know I respect you. All it takes is a handshake, a smile, a greeting. Item number 2, don't hold grudges. I've had more than 1,000 students come through my classroom doors over the years, and while some of them have been like Catherine the Shrew, many more have been Frankenstein's monster. They've been the divas of disruption, the captains of chaos, the grumpy cats of Goonsville. But the things a 15-year-old does in a classroom should not be held against them when they're 22 or even 18. I've learned to deal with the present in the hope that tomorrow they'll be better. I've learned to be an optimist. I've learned even more about reality. But if I go back to lesson number 1, I find that most of my students aren't all that bad. They just haven't matured yet. A few weeks ago, I ran into a former student at a restaurant, and we greeted each other like old friends. Mind you, this was one of those malcontents. Yet here he was working a respectable job in law enforcement with a wife and children. Had I held a grudge, I never would have learned of his success. We would have nodded and grunted at each other, and I would have relived his worst moments with a brow furrowed. As it was, we smiled at those moments, knowing they were part of the process of growing up. Not just for him, but for me as well. Item number 3, Not all stories have a happy ending. Don't expect life to be any different. You want to know why so much good literature ends on a downer? Because it mimics life. The bad guy sometimes wins. The good guy often dies. Tragedy is as much a part of drama as comedy. For all the yin, there's the yang. Karma doesn't always happen. Think about it. You didn't get the A. You didn't take first place or even place in the top 3. Your boyfriend or girlfriend dumped you. The car ran out of the gas on the way back from the river, then the tire went flat because you drove over a nail. And all of that happened last weekend. You will find obstacles throughout your life, and you'll just have to work around them. You'll encounter challenges that will drive you to the brink of sanity, but you'll get through them. Like Winston Smith, you can't beat the system. Like Gregor Samsa, the world will go on without you. Like Amir, you'll struggle to atone for your sins. I didn't know it at the time, but I chose to have you read 1984, The Metamorphosis, and The Kite Runner for a reason. All of them had lessons for us to learn, not just you, but me, whether we wanted to learn them or not. You learn from everything you do. You learn from reading, you learn from listening, and you learn from teaching. You learn good lessons and bad lessons. You learn from success, you learn from failure. You cannot stop learning. It's in human nature to take what we know and use it to our advantage. How you use it, I'll leave to your best judgment. I have faith in you, class of 2013, because you have taught me that you deserve it. Thank you.